Guest number 2 of the day on the DLLS Cowboys podcast. We are on Radio Row in New Orleans, and we are happy to welcome in our friend. Keegan Abdoo is with us, and Keegan is the Senior Manager of Research and Analytics for Next Gen Stats, and he's joining us. Hi, Keegan, and thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me on.
I love Next Gen Stats. I love NFL Pro, and we can talk about what some of those things are. And just all of the things that you can now track in football, the data and how it matches up with the film. I'm a weirdo. I love both.
Oh, yeah.
I like the Next Gen Stats, and then I like to watch the All-22 and just make sure that they're friends.
100%. Should always lead back to it.
Yeah. It should just be telling me what I'm going to see when I watch. If it doesn't, then we're going to have to figure some things out. So anybody who watches football and you see all the Next Gen Stats, you can get stats. Sometimes they'll pop up the little dots thing and show you the routes. What exactly is, or how would you describe Next Gen Stats just in a nutshell?
Basically, every player is wearing chips in their shoulder pads. We can tell you where they are on the field 10 times per second. And over the last decade or so, we've been able to build out a suite of 500 or so different metrics that are available in near real time. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, it's just tracking data, and we can build a bunch of models or business logic or whatever to identify real things happening on the football field in real time.
Keegan, I want to thank you on behalf of every writer out there, because what you guys have done over at Next Gen Stats is so cool, because we used to only rely on yards and, just completion percentage, and at the end of the day, the day I'm going in. The game is so much deeper than that. So I want to thank you for helping us tell the story of the NFL so much better. One guy that it's pretty easy to kind of see his impact, but you could even dive deeper into is Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I mean, and by our numbers, Micah Parsons has pretty much been the best defensive player in the league since entering the league. You look at since entering the league in 2001 or 2021, he didn't even play edge full time his first year, and he still leads the NFL in total pressures and pressure rate.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty good. So how, we have a guy in the chat who's like, how does Micah do against good tackles? Bet it's bad. You're wrong. Micah Parsons is absolutely incredible. Micah Parsons might be the best defensive player in football. You could probably make a case for some other guys. But just going through, when you look at pressures or percentage of pass rushes where you get a pressure, or quick pressures, which are measured in, 2.5 seconds or whatever?
2.5 seconds, yeah. So disrupting the play before it even has a chance to develop.
And Micah basically breaks the whole thing, right?
Oh, yeah. You look at since he became a full-time edge in 2022, leads the NFL in quick pressures. The only other player in his stratosphere is Myles Garrett. I think those two are 30 quick pressures above the next closest player, probably Trey Hendrickson. But, yeah, he just wins so fast, cuts inside, and they move him all over, whether it's Ben Zimmer, whether it's been Dan Quinn, and now Eberflus coming in this year. I'm sure they'll find ways to line him up, as a mugged-up backer. They'll put him on the interior and run twists. He's just – you always need to know where he is on offense.
Mm-hmm. And I think one thing with Next Gen Stats, too, we see the numbers, right? 75 pressures last year despite missing 4 games from Micah Parsons. That's absolutely insane. But I think also people wonder, how, from behind the scenes, how do you guys actually kind of tabulate all this stuff? Is it basically just chips and dots and figuring that stuff, or is it marrying the watching the game with things you're getting from data perspective from the chip inside the shoulder? How do you kind of get all these stats accumulated?
Yeah, so, with pressures specifically, if you go back, we used to measure pressures just by did you get within 2 yards of the quarterback when they release the ball. Obviously, quarterbacks can react to pressure as well, so we thought that was insufficient. 2 off seasons ago, we built a whole model to better identify pressure, training it off of labeled plays. So you start with the film, and then you push it through these advanced models to figure out, can we identify pressures just based on the tracking data? And you can go see for yourself, go on NFL Pro, click on his pressures, and those are what are being identified by the model, and you can see if you agree with that yourself or not. Obviously, pressures are always going to be a little bit subjective, so we try and make it as objective as possible.
That is always fun, seeing the difference in numbers between places, and I've never really known the answer. Like, obviously, you guys have built a model that you're comfortable saying that your number is your number.
Yeah.
Do you know what the differences are between other places and how they're doing it?
Yeah. So, I mean, when you look at a company like PFF or Sports Info Solutions, they have an army of charters who are going in and watching every play. And I started that way. I was at Sports Info Solutions back in the day. I worked for the Browns a little bit doing some hand charting. And I think that that data is, high quality as well. It just takes a lot longer to accumulate. You just can't get it nearly as live. So, a big thing with Next Gen Stats is we work with all the broadcasts to get our stats integrated into the broadcast and help tell a better story. So, you'll be watching the Super Bowl probably and see at one point that maybe Chris Jones has 3 pressures, or Jalen Hurts has been under pressure 9 times, and we're getting that information.
Jalen Hurts is not going to throw 9 passes.
Come on. One thing I think is interesting, too, and you were able to get these stats for us, so thank you, is the difference between Micah Parsons on the field and Micah Parsons off the field. A couple numbers here. Cowboys defense time to throw face, so how long the quarterback had the chance to throw. 2.75 seconds when Parsons was on the field, 2.95 without. Cowboys defense explosive rate last season was a 13.9% with Parsons and 20.3% without Parsons.
That's almost 50% worse.
Yeah, that ranked
when he's off the field.
That ranks last in the NFL. And then EPA allowed was a negative 16.4 with Parsons and a plus 25.1 without him. Long story short, that pretty much tells the value of Micah Parsons, right?
Yeah, you go from, one of the, a good to great defense to one of the worst defenses in the league. And I think that the time to throw really tells you, that quarterbacks feel more comfortable holding onto the ball when Micah Parsons is not on the field. When he's on the field, they got to get rid of the ball. Routes don't have as much time to develop. You can't get those explosive passes. All that.
Yeah.
So we didn't prep for this, so I'm just going to throw this at you blind. If I could convince Jerry Jones to also trade for Myles Garrett, based on all of your guys' data, would I have the 2 best pass rushers on the planet?
I think so. Yeah, I think that would be a pretty terrifying twosome. As a Giants fan, personally, I certainly would not want to be going up against that. It's already terrifying enough to go up against Micah Parsons, and we've seen with Evan Neal over the years how that's
poor
gone.
guy.
Yeah.
I love the draft. Who are you guys going to pick?
I don't know, man. I really don't want one of these quarterbacks. Get Travis Hunter and move on.
Go ahead, Clarence. Sorry.
Can you measure? Have y'all measured like Parsons? Because Parsons really hasn't played with another top pass rusher, top defender, and how does that play into these stats with some of these other players like the Bosa's who have defensive linemen on their team who are at the top of the league as well?
Yeah. So one thing that's interesting about Micah Parsons, we don't track chip blocks. It's something that we're actively working on. But in terms of double teams, he is constantly one of the only edge players who gets true double teams more than anyone in the league. So they're shifting the line towards him. A lot of that also is due to the stunts that the Cowboys run. But he's consistently beating double teams. 2 years ago, first 2 years, you did have one of the deepest pass rushes in the league, I would say. When you had Fowler and Dorrance Armstrong and DeMarcus Lawrence and Osa Odighizuwa.
Yeah, all of Washington's pass rushers.
Yeah, exactly. But I do think that you can see the attention that offenses will give to Micah Parsons just purely based on his double team rate.
Keegan, since you brought it up, Giants fan.
Yes.
We are here in New Orleans. The Eagles and the Chiefs are playing. And Saquon Barkley is starring for the Eagles. How has this been?
He wasn't going to do it there.
What?
Saquon couldn't do it there.
Oh, he was good, though? How has this been? And I'm sorry. I thanked you earlier, and now I'm apologizing.
It's I'm happy for Saquon. It's just
nice.
really tough to see in an Eagles jersey. But, I mean, at least he's getting to thrive and finally, has room to run for the first time. It definitely sucks losing that explosiveness from the team. And overall seemed to be just a great overall ambassador for the Giants and to the community. So it's been tough to see, but I don't think he's necessarily turned heel on the Giants. I feel like a lot of Giants fans have very bittersweet opinions on this. Like, we'd love to see you excel elsewhere, just anywhere but the Eagles, but we didn't pay him, so we have no one to blame but ourselves.
Any next-gen stats on Luka Doncic to the Lakers?
We're looking forward to Luka winning championships with the Lakers. We can't wait. It's going to be so great.
What you got for us?
I got nothing there.
It's not in the database.
Yeah, we don't have anything on basketball,
How
unfortunately.
quickly did your jaw hit the floor? That's the next gen stats that we got to find for the Lucas.
Yeah, I mean, I was out and about in the French Quarter, and I had to do like a triple take on my phone. Like,
I
what?
don't think this is real. that was kind of my reaction. This is Keegan Abdoo, who is the senior manager of research and analytics for Next Gen Stats. And so, like last year, NFL fans, if you subscribe to NFL Pro, like I do, because I like to go back and watch the All 22 tape, and that was part of NFL Plus Premium, you were able to access the Next Gen Stats database for the first time ever. And it's just awesome stuff. If you're a huge football fan, get your NFL Pro, your NFL Plus Premium, and get up in there because, my God, it's fun. It's fun to fart around with data and film. That's what I want you to know.
Fart around.
Is that the new slogan for Next Gen Stats?
Fart
Could
around.
be. I'll talk to our branding people.
Fart around
Yeah.
with data and film. Thank you,
Yeah.
Keegan. We appreciate
Thanks,
you.
guys,
dude.
for having me on.
Keegan,
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate
See
you.
guys.